School has wired us to believe that if you fail, you lose, right? You get an F, you're a loser, right? You get an F, you're the worst student. But in the real world, and especially in business, failure is not only something that will happen, it's a prerequisite that you should seek for, because the faster you fail, the faster you can get to success. And so once again, going back to the things that are in between your ears, that's what matters. That's what's going to help you to be successful. The person that's out there doing it, it's not because they're so much smarter than you or better than you. It's they saw failure as a joke and they're like, okay, great. Welcome to the party, failure. Now it's time to get started. And when you have that mentality, nobody can stop you.
What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy, Storyteller Jet, with another episode of the That's So Fire Talk Show. Today, we have an amazing story from $3 in his bank account to making a 8-figure acquisition. And we're going to be talking about something super revolutionary for the real estate industry as well. So tune in, it's going to be fire. And I have my man here, John Lewis, as our special guest today. How's it going, man?
Thanks for having me, man. I'm pumped. I'm excited to be here. You got the studio. How can you not be on fire for this? Look at this. I'm ready.
Fire.
Let's go.
Let's go. Man, such a pleasure meeting you. It's funny because I met some of your guys months and months ago, and he told me, hey, John Lewis should be a really good guest to be on the show, and then say, yes, let's make it happen, but never really followed up. But my man, Greg over here, wave to the camera, Greg. What's going on?
Good guy.
Messaged me just a couple of weeks ago and said, hey, I have to have my man John Lewis in the show. He said something earlier that it's a God thing, totally a God thing. And
absolutely, this
show today is going to be fire for the things that we are going to be showing people here, and also how you came up from $3 in your bank account to doing an 8-figure acquisition.
Yes, sir.
That's incredible.
Yes.
So let's do this. Let's do a quick introduction of who John Lewis is, and then we're going to dive into your come up story.
Yeah. John Lewis is just a normal kid from New Orleans, Louisiana. I always joke that's where all the crazy people are from. So if you don't know, we're all there. We just spread out over time. So I'm from there originally. I like to tell people that my entrepreneurial story actually started at about 8 years old. So if you've ever played sports before, there's recreation basketball, and everybody gets picked. Even if you're the worst person ever, worst player ever, you still get picked for the team. Somehow they miss my name. And so that's where my arc started. People were like, where did your arc start? That's where my arc started, right? Because as an 8-year-old, I didn't realize it was a mission. I thought I just sucked at basketball. And so I could have either done two things. I could have cried about it. I could have never played basketball again, or I could have got very serious and said, I'm not going to let this happen again. So I would be out in the backyard until 10 o'clock at night as an 8-year-old. My dad would be dragging me in from shooting hoops. So that's where my entrepreneurial story started. I went from that to going and playing college basketball on scholarship as a 5'8" point guard. My whole life changed because of that. So when I got exposed to the world of business, every single philosophy that helped me be successful in basketball, I was able to take into business. That led me very quickly to doing disaster recovery work. I found myself in Puerto Rico, which I don't speak much Spanish at all. Very un poquito, right? I speak enough to get around. I know how to eat, right? But outside of that, I don't speak a lot of Spanish. So I'm on the island. We're rebuilding disaster recovery work, and I have $3 in my bank account. I actually still have a video of me and my partner. We're at Starbucks. We're like, should we get coffee? Should we get gas? Or should we get food? What is the priority right now? So this is where we found ourselves. And once again, you're back at that moment, like that 8-year-old. It's like, okay, back's against the wall. Everybody's against you. What are you going to do? Are you going to cry about it? And I'm looking around. I'm like, this isn't where I plan on dying, so I better do something about this, right? So long story short, we went on knocking on doors, beating on doors, all the big companies. We landed a large contract with a prime contractor there on the island, and went literally from $3 in the bank account to doing 6-figure weeks in about 2 months. And that was the beginning of my entrepreneurial success. It showed me, okay, exactly what you did as an 8-year-old in basketball, those same principles, the mindset, the things in between your ears, which really determine success and failure. If you apply that to business, you can also be successful here.
Boom. That is incredible. From $3 in your bank account to making 6-figure weeks.
Yes, sir.
Guys, 6-figure weeks. That is incredible. I cannot wait to dive more into that, how you were able to do that, some of the things that you've learned from that. I think that's incredible. But now going back from the time that you did not get picked from playing basketball to playing college basketball, that is incredible. Congratulations on that. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's a great story there in itself.
Yeah. My nickname was Mighty Mouse.
Mighty Mouse.
I was the smallest kid. Fun fact, that tagline ended up landing me a Nike commercial. Dream of my life, LeBron's lawyers. I didn't meet LeBron, but I met his lawyers. And I knew the Mighty Mouse theme hit because I was on set and their lawyers were like, oh, you're Mighty Mouse. I was like, oh, that line got me the commercial. But I became Mighty Mouse because I'm this tiny 5'8" kid and I could dunk. So that was my call to fame, was 5'8" and I can dunk.
Wow, that's incredible. Man, I feel like we need like a 5-hour show today for all the different things that I feel like we could talk about.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to compartmentalize, but I hope to give your audience value on what's going to matter to them and take them to the next level.
Absolutely. So I feel like there's a message there, like from mostly like persistence and doing all the other stuff, from not getting picked to like now ended up playing college basketball. For anybody that is watching that wants to quit, that facing obstacles because they have two choices, whether they go drill down into that or quit. Yeah. What advice would you give to the people watching this when their back is against the wall and they have the choices of whether like to double down or quit? What advice would you give them?
I would say you're at the beginning point. Failure is not an option. Failure is a prerequisite to success, meaning you have to go through failure in order to have success. So the first thing you have to do, school has wired us to believe that if you fail, you lose, right? You get an F, you're a loser, right? You get an F, you're the worst student. But in the real world, and especially in business, failure is not only something that will happen, it's a prerequisite that you should seek for, because the faster you fail, the faster you can get to success. And so once again, going back to the things that are in between your ears, that's what matters. That's what's going to help you to be successful. The person that's out there doing it, it's not because they're so much smarter than you or better than you. It's they saw failure as a joke and they're like, okay, great. Welcome to the party, failure. Now it's time to get started. And when you have that mentality, nobody can stop you.
Boom. That's awesome. You also shared a little bit about like your dad has to basically like pry you out of like the backyard to go back in because you were practicing so much. And I feel like there are some great lessons over here too. About like, doing things over and over until like it becomes second nature to you, or like working hard to achieve your dream. So what advice would you give to anybody watching this about like, working hard to achieve your goals or dreams?
Yeah. I mean, it has to be an obsession. If you want to play big, right? Not everybody wants to play big. And I had to learn that too, because you can pass your obsession off on other people and hold them to these crazy standards. But at the end of the day, it's not what they want, right? So I would start there. It has to be something you really, really want. And if you tell yourself you want it, then you have to be able to be obsessed about it. Not I like it, not even I love it. I am obsessed about it. And I will do whatever it takes to make it work, right? And until you get to that point, you won't be successful, because like Elon Musk says, it's like eating glass. He compared a startup business to eating glass and staring into the abyss. With a definition like that, you have to be crazy and you have to be obsessed for it to work, right? So that would be my advice. It's not even just about hard work, because that can lead to burnout, right? If you're not literally obsessed about what you're doing, you're not wanting to play big. And that's okay, but just be honest with yourself. Have self-integrity. And if you tell yourself you want this, that means you're signing up for everything that it's going to take to get there.
Yeah. I was going to ask you a question later, but I'm going to ask it now because I think that's like would be really great here. So the entrepreneur journey is full of ups and downs. Mm-hmm. What are some of the advice that you can give to anybody that may be experiencing those times where, like, their back is against the wall, mm-hmm. and they're eating that glass that Elon Musk said?
Yeah. I would just say, perspective-wise, it is as bad as you think it is, right? Like, people will tell you things. I have 2 kids now, as an example. And people are like, when you have kids, your life is going to totally change. But that means nothing to you as a single person, right? You're like, yeah, whatever, my life will change. You don't understand the depths of how your life will change until you're actually in it. Same thing here. Like, when you're in business, people tell you it's going to be hard. It's going to be tough. You're going to have overcome. You're like, yeah, okay, that's cool. And then you get in it and you feel like you're literally about to die. And it's like, no, this is what they were talking about. It is a real thing. You're not any different than anybody else. This is what you have to go through to get there. So I would say, number one, put it in perspective, right? You're not the only one. This is, once again, the prerequisite for success. And what the second thing that I would say on that is embrace it. Because if you're in that season, I believe in God. Not everybody has to, but I believe in God. I believe God's trying to show you something, right? And so my prayer is always, how do I learn the lesson fast enough not to have to not completely keep learning the lesson, right? I don't want to have to keep repeating the lesson. I want to learn it the first time. I want to get out of it and I want to go to the next thing. But in order to do that, I have to sit in it. I have to dwell there, right? And I have to really understand, what are you trying to teach me so that I can learn it? So I would say, stop trying to skip past the hurt. Dwell in it, be there, exist there, learn what needs to be learned. That way you never go back and repeat that lesson.
Boom. That's awesome.
Yes,
So you mentioned that you ended up playing college basketball. Which school did you end up going to play for?
Yeah, I started at Baylor, and I like to say I was at the end of the bench so far where you're like basically sitting on the ground. So I actually didn't get any playing time there, but I ended up transferring and playing at Lubbock Christian University is where I actually logged playing time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Can you talk to me a little bit about your experience playing college basketball?
Yeah.
By the way, this has been my dream, like to be able to play college basketball and even going to the NBA as well. I grew up in Haiti, and that was like my passion. That was my passion, playing basketball, to the point where I nailed a bicycle rim to a tree so I could practice shooting.
Wow.
So that was like my dream, to be able to make it big into playing college basketball and going to the NBA. So can you talk to me a little bit about what that experience was like to play college basketball?
I mean, for me, it was surreal because, once again, going back to obsession, at that point in my life, I didn't know business. All I knew was basketball. So I ate it. I breathed it. Like, it was all I knew. It was multiple practices a day. And the whole goal was just make it to college, right? At that point in time. And then it was like, I hope, to your point, I can make it to the NBA. So actually being there and living it, just like in business, I equate it to, it's something that you worked for so long and you didn't know if it was ever going to truly come to pass. And you put in so many hours. So to finally step in, and like when I signed my paperwork, my scholarship, at first I was just going to sign. I was like, wait a minute, like, take a picture for me. Like, let me remember this moment, because that is the pinnacle of all the work that you put in. So I would say for me, it was kind of surreal at first stepping into it. And then I think when you get out there, I had the perspective, once again, of a 5'8" point guard. So everybody around me is like, there's a 6'4" point guard. There's like, everybody's 6'4" and taller. And I'm like this 5'8" point guard on the team. There's actually a funny picture of our team. Like at the end of the game, we do our, like, you sing the school like anthem or whatever, and I'm like tiny. It's like raising the bars. I'm way down here and everybody else is like way up here. So for me, that's the lens that I experienced that through. And I would say outside of that, it was just a lot of hard work. Once again, our coach put us through the ringer. There was a time where we lost the game and he didn't like it. We got home at like 6 a.m. We went straight to practice. And he's like, no, y'all aren't going to lay down. Like, you guys suck this week, and get on the court, run some suicides. Like, we're getting ready to practice. And everybody's like, what the heck? This guy's crazy, right? But I think some of those things are what instilled the hard work in me. It's like, you can't feel sorry for yourself. You lost. You didn't sleep all night. Okay, great. Go run some suicides. And it's like, when that is instilled in you, that becomes normal, and you can start to equate that to other places of life.
That is incredible. Wow. Yeah, that's definitely translate to business, because, sometimes as entrepreneurs, we want everything to go super easy for us.
Right.
We don't want to spend that whole night working. Like I recently had like a time that I woke up at midnight and worked the whole day.
Yeah.
But that was hard work. But that's as you said earlier, that's the prerequisite of success as well. So doing the hard things.
Yes, sir.
Because the hard things make things easier for the future as well. So
it can be hard now or it can be hard later. Those are the two options.
Yeah. So obviously for you being 5'8" and playing basketball, that is in itself a huge feat, because a lot of people, when they are looking for the type of people to come and play, they're looking for, taller people. And obviously, you earning the name Mighty Mouse really, showcase like the talent that you are and what you were able to provide for the team as well. That's incredible. So what is the biggest lessons that you say that you've learned through your college basketball playing time?
Uh, I learned that as an underdog, to have that underdog edge mentality, I think is what it taught me. Once again, every time you step on the court, you're being looked at like, what are you doing here? Like guys would literally look like, what? Like you're here on the court with me? Like, what are you doing here? So you learn to get very, very comfortable being the underdog. And I think that's one of the biggest lessons that has translated once again back into business. I'm a young guy, right? Sometimes I step in the room and people look at me exactly the same way, like, oh, like, what are you doing here? But I got very comfortable with that feeling. And so now I'm able to channel that and use that as energy. Like, okay, you don't know why I belong here. Let me show you why I belong here. And I think that's an edge that I take through everything I do in life. I want to be the underdog. I want you to underestimate me. I want you to look at me like, why am I here? And then I get to show you why I'm here.
Yeah. And also because of that too, you probably worked harder than anybody else in the team as well. And I would say that probably is a great transferable skills for your success in business today as well.
Absolutely. It goes back to that. Like, I think when you're gifted in other areas, like if I was 7 foot tall and maybe had the skills of LeBron James, right? Maybe I don't have to work as hard, right? A lot of things come very natural. I think when you are already at a deficit, to your point, you can't miss anywhere, right? Like I think me and Greg talked about it actually. You got to be good at defense. You have to be able to shoot. You have to be fast. You have to be like literally all the other things you have to be because you don't have that one thing, which is height. So once again, everything for me translates to business. Same thing. I don't feel like I can be off in anything. I have to be able to do the sales, be able to do the marketing. I have to stay up until 3 a.m. I don't get to cut corners. And so once again, it's just a direct transfer into business.
Fantastic. So earlier you mentioned that you had the opportunity to be in a Nike commercial,
Yes.
Which is pretty cool in itself. Actually, Nike commercial is probably what got me interested in doing video production stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So I remember growing up, I saw one of those Just Do It commercial, like showcasing a bunch of soccer stars.
Mm-hmm.
The way that the edit was made, it was so beautiful. And I was like, man, one day I want to do something like this. I want to start a business that is going to be focused on storytelling and being able to create beautiful videos like that. So that's kind of cool that you were able to be featured in one of those videos.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit. How did that Nike commercial come about?
Yeah. That's one of the highlights of my life for sure, because I think as a basketball player, you grew up like looking at Nike and it's like the pinnacle is being associated with Nike. So for me, it's always something that I wanted. I actually got an acting mentor while I was in college because his whole thing was action athletes over into acting. That's what he did. His name's Michael Papajohn. Shout out Papa John. I love you if you're watching this. But he played at LSU. He played baseball and he immediately went into acting after. So he's the guy who kills Uncle Ben in Spider-Man. I don't know if you guys are Spider-Man fans, but
I'm a huge Marvel fan.
Okay,
and,
perfect.
Spider-Man definitely, like literally, if you go around all of the studio, there's like probably like 20 different TVs in here, and all of them are named after a Star Wars character. So kind of in the Disney kind of world as well. But I grew up watching Spider-Man.
Perfect.
I'm a huge Marvel movies, so that's kind of cool. I'm definitely, the next time I see Uncle Ben, I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, his name's Michael Papajohn. So he's the guy that's like, put the money in the bag, blonde, spiky hair. He kills Uncle Ben in that series. But so he got me into the acting world and he sent me out on this audition for Nike. He's like, hey, go try it out, see if you make it. And I'm super nervous, of course, because I'm like, this is my big shot, right? I get to be in a Nike commercial possibly. I played my worst basketball ever. Like, I think I airballed a shot. And so I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking, I'm not getting this. Like, I don't know why I showed up like this today, but I did not show up to play. And then that's when we did the interview. So there's the playing portion of the audition and there's the interview portion of the audition. And all they ask you to do is super simple. They're like, state your name and state why you're here, right? Every single person gets up and says their normal name and they're like, I'm here to play basketball, right? And I get up there and I'm like, I'm Mighty Mouse and I'm here to ball out. And so that Mighty Mouse, that's back full circle to why when I got on set, LeBron's lawyers are like, oh, you're Mighty Mouse. And I'm like, okay. So that Mighty Mouse tagline obviously helped me to land that commercial.
That's incredible. So talk to me about the process of obviously getting selected and being featured in there as well.
It was total silence after the audition. So you go back home. I believe it was like a couple months. I heard absolutely nothing for a couple of months. And then one day I got a phone call and the girl was just like, I need to know your shoe size and I need to know if you can be on a plane in 3 days. And I was like, yes and yes. I gave her my shoe size. They ended up flying me out first class. They put us up in a hotel. We shot in California. We were right by the Clippers Stadium in Inglewood. So they put us up in a hotel. They flew us out. They gave us per diem. And mind you, at this point in time, this is before any of my business stuff started. So I'm a dead broke, like my electricity is going off on me sometimes. This is the world that I live in right now. So to get per diem and get flown out first class, for me, this is crazy. So our shooting took, I think it was like a week and a half. We actually recreated, for you basketball fans, LeBron James, he had a big scene in the NBA Finals where he blocks Andre Iguodala against the Golden State Warriors to win. So we created that scene, but in high school. So it was like high school version of LeBron James going and blocking that shot. And I was high school version of Kyrie Irving. We know none of this while we're shooting. They just basically say, do this, do this, do that. And then at the end, they're like, by the way, this is what we're recreating.
Wow,
So
that's incredible. That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Did you get a chance to meet any of those players when you were doing that?
I didn't. So LeBron was the only one that was actually in the commercial. And he shot his in Akron, Ohio. I think it was during the season. And his lawyers were just out in Los Angeles. So it was me. It was a bunch of other actors and like a bunch of fans and B-roll people that they had there.
Yeah. I believe experiences teaches us things. Going through that experience, what is the one thing that you took away from that potentially would apply to your business?
Yeah. I just think it changes your belief system, right? I think anytime you get around in that sort of setting where people are doing really big things and you're part of something like that, I think a lot of us have a limiting factor where it's like, other people can do that, but I can't do that, right? And then you get to be a part of something like that, and it's like, wow, if I was able to do this, what else can I do? So I think it just takes the limits off of what you believe. What I would encourage you to do, and what everybody to do, is to try to take that limiter off of you ahead of time. Even if you haven't done something like a Nike commercial, I want people to know you can do something of that caliber. You have to take the limits off of yourself, because a lot of times we disqualify ourselves. We say, I can't do this, right? Take that limiter off. You can do whatever you put your mind to. And that's coming from a kid from New Orleans, normal person, right? And I've been able to do the things that I've done.
Awesome. So we're here live at the DSF Talkshow. Interviewing here is the amazing John Lewis. Incredible story, from taking having $3 in his bank account and now being able to purchase a business for over 8 figures. So if you have any questions as you're tuning in, please comment it, and then we'll see if we can address it for you on the live show. But also, please make sure you like and subscribe and share with a friend so we can get the message out. So now I want to transition about your time in Puerto Rico and when you had $3 in your bank account. Mm-hmm. So walk me through that time. Like, you head to Puerto Rico during disaster relief. Mm-hmm. What brought you there specifically? Was it like for the business opportunity, for helping people? What exactly brought you to Puerto Rico?
Yep. So I lived through Katrina when I was in New Orleans, saw devastation firsthand. The thing about storms is usually it's a very small knit group of people who get those opportunities to work on those storms. Because of Katrina and how huge it was, that opportunity expanded. So my family actually got exposed to that industry, what it was like to be a part of it, and the money that was behind it. And so my mom actually kind of pushed me. There was a mutual colleague of hers that was going and doing a contract down there. She was like, you should go down there. Like, you should be a part of this. You should learn. There's plenty of money to be made as well. So that's originally why I was sent down there. I got connected with this guy. He had this operation going of rebuilding homes, and I was going to be a part of it. And so the story gets crazy at this point, because he's supposed to be paying me and his general contractor to go out and manage the guys. He's not even there in Puerto Rico. So 2 months passes by and nobody's gotten a paycheck, right? And we're sitting down at lunch with some of the guys that are working, and they're like, we also haven't gotten a paycheck. So I see my partner pulling money out of his pocket to give to them just so that they can be paid. So this is where, mind you, I'm not a business person at this time. I don't have a lot of experience in business, but what I do have is a conscience of what's right and wrong. And that fires me up. So when I see people not getting paid, I'm like, no, I'm not just going to sit here. I'm going to do something about this, right? So I call the guy, I tell him what he's doing isn't right. I pull that PM and I'm like, we're going to start the business here, but we're going to do it the right way. And we're actually going to pay people. So I went out, I raised like literally in like a month, I raised $100,000 for us to be able to buy the tooling that we needed to actually do the contract. And we got a contract with the same contractor. And we built about 3 homes and we were ready to get paid on that 100,000 that we put in. And here's another hurdle. So first hurdle was we're not getting paid anything. We started a business. Second hurdle, we put $100,000 into it. It's time to get paid. First guy comes back to us and like, well, yeah, we're not going to pay you because you were involved with this other guy at first and now you're doing your own thing and we don't want to get involved in that. So here I am. Number one, I wasn't getting paid at first. Number two, we did the right thing, tried to get people paid them money, put $100,000 into it. We're not getting paid from that now. So now I'm down $100,000 of other people's money. I have none of my own money left, and I'm feeling pretty defeated, right? Because it's like, man, everybody's just stomping on me, right? Taking advantage of me. And that's the point that I was at when it's like, either you can do something about this or this is where your story ends. So I'm not going to go too specific because not many people know about the disaster world. But the bottom line is we knocked on the biggest door there. We had to sneak past security to get there. We asked for the guy that we knew was at the top of the largest company there. We finally got in front of them. We pleaded our case like, look, this is what's happened to us. But I promise if you give us an opportunity, we'll be your best contractor here on the island. The guy took pity on us. He probably didn't expect much, but he's like, here's a contract. Go out and show me what you can do. And that's fast forward. In 2 months, me and my partner, we became the fastest growing company on the island. And we were doing 6 figures per week in about 2 months.
That is incredible.
Yep.
That is incredible. So
Yep.
Like the title of the show is, from $3 in your bank account to, buying an 8-figure business.
Mm-hmm.
But it should be like from $100,000 in the hole to,
True.
buying it, an 8-figure business. But that's incredible, man. That's an incredible story about resiliency, about like, okay, I need to do something about it. And yeah, I applaud you for, your success as well. So I'm getting some really great questions here on the show. So after you did that, what business did you pivot into working after doing that?
So I think that industry gave me a good background on what it took to be successful from a construction perspective. And that led me to finding out about the company that I'm very, very jacked up and excited about, which is Lock and Block. It's the company that we just acquired. And I got exposed to this material actually sitting in a jacuzzi at my apartment. So I want you guys to know things happen in very natural and normal ways. Like it wasn't some like God came down from heaven. It was like, here's this great opportunity, right? Like it was a guy sitting in a jacuzzi. He had this block material. I took a picture of it and I sent it to all my contractors. I was like, what do you guys think about this? And all of them unanimously said, this is the future. That never happens. Number one, for any people to agree to anything unanimously, never happens. Contractors, never happens, right? So yeah. I took that seriously. I was like, whatever this is, I need to explore it further and I need to get involved. So for the next 2 years, I'm an intense person. Once again, guys, obsession is the key to success. I put both of my businesses on the back burner. Both of them were doing very, very well. And I said, I'm going to go all in on figuring out how to be involved in this industry and how to explore this material. On a 2-year run, we found the company Lock and Block. And when I found this company and saw that the blocks stacked like Legos and we could build homes in about 5 hours and how strong it was, I said, why does this industry not already have this? There's so many people that can't afford homes. There's so many people that when storms hit, everything is destroyed. Why hasn't there been a solution that's out there in the market where people can have safe and affordable homes? And when that light bulb clicked for me, I became absolutely obsessed about acquiring a company in the space and getting involved.
This is incredible. And also kind of a full circle moment too, because I know you've built the first house with that. And that could potentially be a game changer for a lot of those areas that get affected by hurricanes, storms, and all of this fun stuff as well. So for those of you that wants to learn, this is the stuff. Can you talk about like how does that work? How does
Yeah.
Lock and Block work?
So it's very simple. It's literally like life-size Legos. So there's a male part on this side, there's a female part on this side. It slides into one another. You literally just slide it in horizontally and then you can stack it on top. So just exactly like you do your Legos at home, that's how you do this, but in real life, and it's a big boy material. So that's what led us to being able to build that 2-story home in about 5 hours, just stacking blocks. My 3-year-old can do it. Me and you could do it. We can build a wall together. And I think that is going to put the power of building back into the hands of the consumer, which is one of our goals. We want it to be so simple that the power is now back in your hands. We interviewed so many people about their homes, and it's kind of sad. Most people don't even know what their home is made out of. I asked people, what is your home made out of? And they'd say things like brick or stucco. They're talking about the finishings that are added onto their house, but they don't know what the bones are made of. And the bones matter because the bones are why when hurricanes hit, everything is destroyed. The bones go a long way to why your house is affordable or not affordable. And so one of the things that we want to do is educate people. What are the bones of your house made of? And I believe that all of them should be made out of Lock and Block.
Absolutely. What is the biggest difference between Lock and Block and the traditional way of building houses?
Yeah, I would say speed, number one. The traditional way of building takes a long time to build. Lock and Block is a very, very quick, efficient way of building. I would say the second thing is affordability. Right now, for homes to be affordable, you have to use like a 2x4. So if you guys go to Home Depot and look at what a 2x4 is, it's a very like flimsy material. If you really think about your home being built of this, you're not confused as to why it can easily be blown down. And so I think one of the big things is how strong this material is, but also affordable. The building companies no longer have to give you the cheapest product out there to build you a home. They can build with a very, very good material, but also give you a very, very affordable house. And I think that that changes the infrastructure of America because now we don't have these neighborhoods that are getting completely devastated every single time a storm blows through. So I would say affordability and durability, that combination, not one or the other, because one without the other doesn't change the world.
Absolutely. What is the Lock and Block made of?
Lock and Block's main component is something called polypropylene. So it's actually a derivative of oil. It's a very, very common substance, very, very healthy substance. Like if you WebMD what polypropylene is, they'll say it's safe for consumption. So it's a very, very safe material to build with. That's our foundation. And then we also use recycled glass and recycled plastic, which there's a plethora of that in the world, right? Like how many countries are trying to get rid of recycled glass and recycled plastic?
Yeah,
so we're trying to help the environment. We take all of those components, put it into a compound, and that's what makes up the material of Lock and Block.
Awesome. Yeah, this is such a genius idea. And I feel like a lot of countries and a lot of like areas could definitely be using that. And for me, being from Haiti, being being raised there, like seeing like my dad actually owns a company where he's the one that is providing materials to creating blocks. Like, he has a couple trucks that he goes and pick up all the sand and all of the stuff to kind of provide it to those people so they can build block. Yeah. He actually told me the other day that one of the things that he's thinking about starting is a whole block business in Haiti. So that could potentially be a game changer for a lot of the people that are living in Haiti. And obviously we are very prone to getting hurricanes or tornadoes and doing all of the other stuff like that. So that would be really cool for that. So we were talking earlier about a lot had to happen from 1996 to 2006 for this business to be successful today. Can you walk me through that process? What had to happen for the business to be where it's at today?
Absolutely. Yeah. 1996 is a long time away. People are probably like, is this guy like 50? And I want to say, no, I'm not. Like I am as old as I look, but we did acquire the company. So the previous founder started this in 1996. He started with an idea of same mission. I want to make the world a better place. I want to truly build a better future. What people don't realize about the building space is it's very, very hard to do that because of all the regulation. So the last time there was true innovation in the building space was actually in 1824, and that was when concrete came out. So think about where we are right now today in the world with AI, with robots, and my refrigerator can talk to me, right? But but the construction industry hasn't changed since 1824. That's crazy.
That's insane.
Right? But there's a reason for that. It's because of how much regulation is involved, because at the end of the day, your house is very important. They want to make sure that that's safe, and they want to make sure that the walls don't come down on you, because we'll be in a lot of trouble if we just let people build with anything. And so that's why there's such a long runway from 1996 all the way to 2026. There were 27 different product iterations, meaning he made the whole product, thought it was good, took it to the lab to get tested, found out it wasn't good, had to spend time and money again just to get this product to the point where it was able to be approved to build with and superior in strength and wind rating and all the other things we've talked about to concrete and wood. So it was a very, very long process of that from 1996 to 2026 of really creating the best product out there. And now we finally have something that's both quality and approved to build with, and we're excited.
Yeah. So when did you acquire the company?
Literally 2 weeks ago in Greg's jacuzzi. So jacuzzis are a very common theme in this story.
Yes, that is awesome. I guess I need to be invited to Greg's jacuzzi.
Yeah, jacuzzis are where the
when
magic
am I going to get an invite, Greg? Come on, man.
I guess jacuzzis are the secret, actually, to success.
So if you're watching this and you want to be successful, definitely make sure that you jump in the jacuzzi.
That's right.
Okay,
That's all you got to do.
So you touch on something very important, and I want to make sure that we talk about this on the show. How does lacking block do in fires? Like, what's the durability of lacking block when you build with it?
That's a great question. So from a fire perspective, this is actually good for people to know. Your fire rating in your home actually doesn't come from the material that you build with. The fire rating in your home actually comes from drywall and paint. And so I didn't even know this getting into the space. I used to think, okay, drywall, paint, I don't really know the purpose of it, right? Like I know why there's insulation, and I guess we have to put drywall to cover the insulation was always the only, as far as I went mentally about it, right? But then I found out that drywall actually gives you the 2-hour fire rating that you need to actually have a home. So like wood, if we think of wood, the moment you light wood on fire, right? That's what it's for, right? Like back in the day, you get some wood together, you put a fire on it, it burns, right? Yep. So you have to cover it with that drywall and with that paint in order for it to be fire rated. Our product is exactly the same, but when you put that drywall and you put that paint on there, it gets the highest fire rating possible. And in order for it to melt, it has to reach over 600 degrees. And if it reaches over 600 degrees, we're all in a lot of trouble, whether your house burns down or not, right? Like if you're in a structure that's 600 degrees or more, we're in trouble. So that's how our product responds to fire very, very well.
Awesome. You talk about earlier about this is kind of like a Lego. Yeah. Like obviously, as my kids love playing with Legos, growing up, love kind of, messing around with all of this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's so fun to stack it. But at the same times, when you see like, kids kind of doing all of that, if they knock it out, everything comes crumbling down. Right. So talk to me about like, the durability as it relates to the like Lego perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you build with this block, when all of the structures together, it's called a monolithic system, which just means it is one full system and it moves together unanimously. Like, you're here in this beautiful podcast, you probably have had many screens, right? This might be multiple screens here, right?
There's 70 screens attached to each other to make that seamless.
Exactly. So this looks like one screen right now, but what will happen if one screen goes out? Will all the screens go out? Like, will all 69 other screens also go out?
No.
Right? You'll just have one screen out, right? So same thing with this. It's a monolithic structure. If you take one block away, it doesn't ruin the integrity of the entire structure. The structure still stands and it still has its strength. And that's the beautiful thing about this. It's why it's so great with earthquakes. It's because as it moves in one. It's unison. The other cool thing about this is when it gets to the top, we tension the system down. So if you think of a bunch of loose blocks, At the very, very top, we have a tensioning system that compresses all of them. And that's what gives us our strength that's 3 times stronger than concrete. When all of it's compressed, you won't be able to knock it down or knock a block out. It's actually the same tensioning system that they use at aquariums to make the glass airtight so that no water can get through. So the bottom line is when that's tensioned down, it's not going anywhere. Like there's nothing you can do to move those blocks.
Yeah. So what did you have to do to make sure that you get all of the things that you needed for it to be approved by government and like approved to be able to build with it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's third-party firms. Just like anything else, certain firms are respected more than others. We work with a firm that's called WJE. They're one of the most respected firms out there. So the bottom line is when they put their stamp on a test, you can pretty much take it to the bank, right? And WJE has done all of our testing on wind, on fire, on strength. So all these things that I'm sharing with you, it's not just because let me think of something cool to say on the show, right? It's like this firm that is very, very respected has done all this testing, and this is the feedback that they've come with to say, you know what, this is safe for building, this is stronger than concrete, and all the other superlatives that we talk about here.
Yeah, bro. It feels like you've like been working with, acquired Lock and Block for like 5 years. Like you're so knowledgeable about all the stuff, which is incredible.
Thank you.
So how competitive is the Lock and Block industry right now?
So the building material industry as a whole, it's about a $2.3 trillion industry, which just basically means there's a lot of products out there in general, right? But most products still require the old solutions to work. So what I mean by that is it could be an innovative product, but it still requires concrete. There's a lot of those out there where it's like, yes, we are the new product, but you still have to insert concrete for us to work. Or we're still made of concrete, we're just cut differently so you can build faster. So Lock and Block, the way it's different is it's truly a different product. Like I don't depend on concrete to build. I don't depend on wood to build. I am Lock and Block. That is the system. So that's one core way that we're very, very unique. There's one other product that's similar to ours, but you need an adhesive for it to work. So when they build with it, they have to put this special marine-like glue on it just to make the whole system work. We don't require any of that. We're the only system that's truly a standalone, where here in your office, we will make zero mess. It'll be like we were never here. We could build up a wall, take the wall back down, and you wouldn't even know the difference when we left. There's no other product you can do that with.
That's incredible. So you're telling me that you do not need water to do anything like that?
You don't need water either. And that's another huge thing that now that you bring that up, I mean, in Africa, there's a study that says about 40 billion hours every single year is spent just collecting water. So think about that, 40 billion hours spent collecting water. And of that 40 billion, about 15% of that water is spent on construction. And it's mostly through concrete, right? So if we were able to go into Africa and provide this solution, let's say we even reduce the amount of hours by 10%, we're saving them 4 billion hours worth of time working to collect water. That's a big deal.
That's a huge deal.
They can use that for drinking now.
Yeah,
right?
100%. Yeah, that's a huge deal. How much do you think that this business is going to be worth in the future?
I don't think you should ask me that because I'm going to blow a lot of people's mind. But I think the baseline of this business is $1 billion just because of the impact that it should have. Has nothing to do with me or how great I am. It has to do with we have something that can truly change the world, and it should change the world. And I don't see any reason why this can't be $1 trillion company, because I truly believe it is the future of building. It's just better. It just is. And so the only other question, if it's already better, is it more affordable? And we are very passionate about making sure both of those things always exist. We will not be the luxury product that is the best thing out there, but normal people can't afford it. We believe everybody should have a Lock and Block home.
Yeah, that's awesome. So whenever it's worth $1 trillion, what can I do to get 1 billion from that?
That is,
right?
You're asking the right questions, man.
Right
These
question.
are the questions that we need to know. So we're actually in a capital raise right now. We're about halfway to our goal. I believe that by the end of this month, we'll be all the way to our goal. So the easiest way to get involved is to become an owner. But that window is closing very, very quickly. I would say the next best way to become involved is by being a distributor. So we're launching a distributor program where you can actually buy the product from us at a reduced price and then go out and resell that. And fun fact, that's how a lot of people actually built their $1 billion companies. If you Google, you don't have to take my word for it, Google concrete distributors and look at the top 10 concrete distributors, right? They didn't make concrete. They didn't create concrete, right? They're just distributors of concrete. All of those companies are tens of billions of dollar companies, right? They are that way because they got involved with concrete very, very early on. I believe that same opportunity exists right now with Lock and Block, where we're making distributors. And because you're here very, very early on, you'll have the opportunity to still build those multi-million, possibly even billion-dollar companies just because you're a distributor of our product.
Yeah, I mean, get early, guys. Get early in. That's incredible. So you mentioned that you are currently doing a capital raise. Like, how much money are you raising right now, and what are some of the things that people like should look for, like as it relates to return on investment when they decide to, work with you guys?
Yeah. So this current capital raise we're in right now is a $7.5 million raise. We're right around $4 million right now as far as the total raised. And our current valuation is a $30 million valuation. So just to put that in perspective, like the third party valuation we got when a company evaluated what we had and what we could be, they put a $140 million valuation on it. So we're giving investors a pretty good discount for believing in us, believing in where we can go, and helping us get to the moon.
Yeah. For anybody that might be interested, that is tuning into the show right now and that wants to get in on this, how they can like learn about all of that? Like how can they learn about investing with you guys?
Yeah, I would say go follow me on Instagram will be the fastest path. My tag is The Athletic CEO, and just DM me the word invest and I'll know what it means.
Yeah. Do DSF invest so that way we can know
there you go.
The show. Let's go.
Came from. There you go.
And then I'm looking forward to get like this is how I'm gonna get the 1 billion from this. Yeah. Like the show is gonna take off so much that we're gonna get a bunch of people. I'm joking.
That's right. Hey, no, that's a good strategy. I love it.
Yeah, that's funny. Man, this is so incredible. So you mentioned earlier that you were able to build a house in less than 5 hours. Mm-hmm. That's a huge feat. Can you walk me through that process? Like how were you able to build a 2-story house in less than 5 hours?
Yeah. So with traditional building, there's so many steps to building the actual walls, right? Like if you're building a wood home, you have your 2x4s or your 2x6s, you have your sheathing, you have your workers that need to put the whole thing together. And it's a very long process, right? With ours, the reason it can be so fast is because, once again, you're literally stacking Legos. So once you have your foundation laid and that is in place, you would come to the job site and you would have your first row of blocks already laid. Me and you, we're taking this block right here and we're stacking it on top of another block. And we're doing that over and over and over again until we're at 1 story, right? And then we're going to do the same thing to get the 2 stories. And it sounds like I'm oversimplifying it, but that is literally what the process is. So when you have a process that's that simple, you can do things like build a home in 5 hours. And then once again, after you're done building all those blocks, you get your strength by just tensioning the whole thing down. So you're compressing that whole system that you just took the time to build. And now you have a strong, solid building. We were walking up and down the stairs, jumping on the 2nd floor, and the structure was still standing, of course. And that was without even having a foundation. So that tells you just how strong this home is. No foundation, 2 stories built, tension down, and it was strong enough to do everything a normal home would do.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you guys have like a face to the block too, or do you just kind of use like, regular drywall to put on top of it?
Yep. You can use all your normal applications. So everything you would do with a wood home or a concrete home, you can also do with our Lock and Block. But we are in the process of creating a unique slide-on feature because of the grooves in our product. We want to really put everything to use there. So we have a slide-on finishing that we're working on where you could just slide it in or slide it out, which will allow people in the future to, hey, I want to change my walls. You don't have to repaint them, right? Just slide out the finishing, slide in the new finishing, right?
Yeah.
So,
the reason I'm asking that too is like because like in the studio we have the LED wall, but we have a bunch of different kind of spaces. How cool would it be like if we wanted to build a different set where we can like showcase like a beautiful skyscraper things over there, but I wanted to build a window in front of the LED wall, so I can kind of easily kind of build that with the blocking, locking block, and then put like the face into it. And then whenever I'm done, I just like slide it out. And then now like I can really build a bunch of different walls inside of the studio.
Absolutely.
So whenever you guys have like, that sliding things, like hook me up.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be so cool to be able to build that in the studio.
The world is yours. So for someone like creative like you, you'll have a field day, right?
Yeah.
You should have a few blocks on hand just sitting there for when you have an idea, you're like, oh, I want to build this today.
Exactly.
You can build that.
Yeah, like now that's not going to be taking a ton of like space for me too. I can have like enough black to be able to do like, a whole wall over here. But because like, it's stacking like Legos, like I can kind of build different types of sets and kind of being able to change that. Yeah. So there's a lot of really other cool application that you can have for it.
Yeah.
If you weren't even just kind of building a house.
Yeah. For the creative type, it's a dream, right? Your home is now in your hands. The walls you build are now in your hands. You don't have to rely on an expert to come in and do it. And for the creative type, I mean, that's a dream.
Yeah. And I mean, the cool part of it too, like you don't need to hire like, big contractors. Obviously, contractors will be able to resell it. But now from what you were describing in the future, when everybody wants to build their own houses, everything now with this, that kind of making it more accessible with like, the average people and not having to like, spend, $500 million to build like a simple house.
Right. Yeah. We want it to truly be simple. And I think your home should, right? This is the most important part of most people. This is the foundation of most families, right? Do I have a roof over my head? It's very, very simple. So why is it the hardest thing to obtain? Mm-hmm. Those two things don't go together, right? When we make what should be the simplest thing, the hardest thing for people, that's why we're in a day and age right now where everybody's struggling. It's not rocket science. 1 + 1 = 2. So if we now make that simple, if we now make that process easy, we change the world. And I truly believe that that's what we're going to do.
Yeah. So here's a very important question. So as you can see, there is like, some holes in here and like everything is going to be stacking together. Mm-hmm. How does that work with electricians? Like, do electricians approve of this material?
Yeah. Electricians love this material. And I'm going to do one better. I'm going to grab our true block because that's a prototype, just so that we can show people that on this block, as you can see, this is our real one. You have the spaces here for your wires. So you can run your wires in between these spaces here, or you can run them through these channels right here. When the drywall is on them, they can go straight through these channels, which makes the electrician very, very happy. He's a happy camper because of that, because a traditional concrete block doesn't have these features.
Yeah, absolutely. Are those versions for my kids?
They are. They are. Actually, funny, my partner Blake, his child has built full structures with that. I get pictures every now and then of her playing with them and building them. They're her Lego blocks now. So yeah, kids love those.
Yeah, that's incredible. So the locking mechanism that you mentioned goes like through those grooves over here and then lock everything together. Is that how it works?
Yep. So the grooves are for the wiring. So if you put your drywall on, you can run the wiring straight through these grooves, or you could run them through the top right here. You can't see it on these, but they are interlocked together just when you stack them on top, as well as when you stack them horizontally. They completely interlock together. So imagine this.
Oh, like this.
They lock horizontally just like that. The real ones will lock in and they won't be able to move. And then on top, the same thing, they're locked in. So imagine this. You have all these blocks together. Now that tensioning system with so much pressure, right, is just pushing down on all of it and compressing it. And that's what makes it airtight. Now it can't move.
Yeah. So I guess like for anybody that is watching this, they probably have like a burning question. And that question would be, what about doors and windows? How does that work? Like for you, when you're stacking all those things together, does that work with like traditional doors and windows, like to kind of build that?
Yep, 100%. You would frame it out, which is a term that's used right now just in every type of construction, wood construction. When you go to do your door, you frame out the place. You just create the opening of where the door would be. You would do the same exact thing with these blocks. You would build around and you create an opening for where your door would be, and then you would frame it out with wood, just like you normally do now, and then put your door in.
Yeah. Man, this is such an incredible idea and revolutionary. I've practiced that word many times earlier because it's, with my super sexy accent, I cannot say revolutionary, but this is like a revolutionary product that you have here that I truly believe that's going to disrupt the, industry as well. Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
And also for buying the business and running it and doing all the other stuff.
Thank you.
So what does it look like right now? What is the making of your team? You mentioned your partner Blake. Who's like part of the business and like what is that right now?
I'm glad you asked that question. I think that's a hack in business. It's not about you as the entrepreneur, really. It's about the team you surround yourself with. And I think I'm very, very honored to have an amazing team. We brought on a COO. His name is Bo Perry. So he came over from DR Horton. They're one of the top builders here in the USA. He was their VP of construction for 15 years. So we have people like Bo who he already knows the industry. He knows what he's doing at a very high level, and he gets to come in and run our operations. We have people like my partner Blake. He's our VP of sales. He spent years and years doing sales. He actually created an innovative way to sell at Ford through their sales team that combined the finance side of sales and the floor sales side. He combined those two worlds together, and that's still used right now to this day. So I have people like Blake. I have people like Bo. I have people like Greg, who's a master at marketing. He's done marketing for some of the top names in the space.
Shout out to Greg,
shout
my
out
boy.
Greg.
Let's go, bro.
Greg is a common denominator in everything, by the way. Everything runs around Greg. So, and the same thing here in this company. Greg is going to be the link that gets the marketing, gets leads in Blake's hands, gets leads in the sales team's hands so that we can actually do what we need to do. So when you have people like that you surrounded yourself with, my goal is to make this harder to fail than to succeed, right? Because when you start and it's just you, there's so many ways it can fail, right? I might wake up and have a bad day. If I have a bad day and the business fails, that's like, I don't like those odds, right? But if I start to surround myself with the Gregs of the world, the Blakes of the world, the Bows of the world, and we start adding all these pieces in, now it becomes harder to fail than to succeed. And that's where you want to be.
Absolutely. I literally just got a text here from Brendan T. Adams. He's the co-founder of Kevin Harrington with Big Brains Venture. Brendan, if you're watching this show right now, invest in these guys. Like there's another like $3 million to be raised. Okay. Reach out to these guys. I'm probably going to text him later and tell him, hey, this is a great opportunity.
I love it.
Yeah, this is incredible, man. This is really cool. What do you hope the future, like what is the next year or 2 years look like for Black and Block?
Yeah. The next year for us looks like getting distributors on board is going to be our main focus. We want people that believe in this as much as we do, people that want to take advantage of the opportunity. That's super dear to my heart with my background is we could have gone the route where we just make sales as corporate. We become this multi-billion dollar company and nobody else participates, right? That was never my vision. It was never my mission. It was always to take other people along. Because if I'm doing it alone, why am I doing it? So by bringing on distributors, we allow them to participate in the growth, to make money with us, to make it their own business. You make Lock and Block yours. It's not just mine. I want Lock and Block to be for everybody. And so this first year, we want to find those people who are just as passionate about this. They want to make this the business that takes them from where they are to where they want to be for themselves and their family. We want to lock arms with those people and help them to build a massive Lock and Block distributor program. That's what year one looks like for us. Year two looks like us taking that money and parlaying it to be able to supply for the big companies, right? The DR Hortons of the world, the Home Depots of the world. Right now, we're not at a place where we can fulfill on orders that large. We need to build our infrastructure. But after the first year, we'll be able to actually tap into those bigger organizations. And then from there, that's all she wrote. I'll be back on your podcast, the most popular podcast out there, talking about it.
Yeah, it's people have been saying that this is the #1 real estate investors podcast.
I love it.
Content creation studio here. So,
Yeah, I agree. I fully agree.
Yeah. So, guys, here's the block. Here's the Lock and Block. So, as you can see, this looks very similar to traditional blocks. What is the biggest difference between this and a traditional block? What is the durability? How do you compare this strength-wise with a regular block?
Yeah. The first difference is that you can do what you just did, which is lift it up pretty simply and still talk, right? Most of the traditional blocks are very, very heavy, about 40 pounds. And that's before you add mortar and rebar and everything else to it. So it's really heavy for people to lift. I think from a strength perspective, the cool thing is you would think, okay, that block is so much heavier, so it must be stronger. But the way that you rate strength is something called PSI. The PSI strength level of concrete is around 3,000. The PSI of our block is 6,400. So it's over twice as strong as that concrete block that also weighs more for you to pull around. So those two things create a big difference. But we couldn't stop there because we're like, that's cool. That's testing in a lab. But how about we try this out in real life? So in the middle of nowhere, Texas, we had a buddy take a 60,000 pound bulldozer. He took a concrete block and he took our block. And his mission was to destroy. Anybody who has a 60,000 pound bulldozer, they want to destroy what they run over. He's not there to make it survive, right? So he runs over the concrete block, completely decimates it immediately, runs over our block. It lifts the whole thing up. It's just sitting on top. We have video evidence of this. It's just sitting on top of our block. He didn't stop there. He's like, let me try again, right? So he tries to do it a second time. It just lifts it up. And then finally he quit. He's like, I don't want to mess my bulldozer up, right? But we still have that block to this day. The integrity is still intact and it couldn't crush it. So we tested it in a lab and it said it's stronger. We tested it in real life and it's significantly stronger.
Yeah, one time we had a martial art artist here in the studio. He's won multiple world record, and one of the things that he does is basically like chop wood or chop like blocks. You should have him to do one with an actual block, breaking it, and then like him trying to break this. That would be cool.
I would love to. I don't want to hurt him. He have to sign some paperwork liability
disclosure. Yeah. But that was kind of cool. Like we had him here to do some TV commercials for one of our clients, which was kind of pretty cool. Man, this is incredible. Congratulations. And congratulations to the whole team, Blake, Greg. You guys are building something fantastic. And I cannot wait for me to get a billion out of the $1 trillion that you get in the future. Let's go. No, this is incredible. So it's been an incredible hour. Like you share so much value. I love your energy. I love all the things that you have been able to accomplish, and super excited to see what the future looks like for you guys. So right now we're moving to the end of the show. There is like 5 questions that I always ask people on the show. So we're gonna go there.
Let's do it.
So the very first question that I have, obviously you have an incredible story. If you had to go back to day one, when you were standing in Puerto Rico, looking at your bank account and only have $3 in your bank account, what is one thing, if you were able to travel back to that time, that you would have told to your younger self? What is one piece of advice that you would give into your younger self?
I would say this is where it gets good. So number one, hang in there. I would say embrace this moment because this is your foundation of who you're going to be moving forward. It's the bad times that shape us, not the good times. And then I think the last thing that I would tell that version of myself is don't take success for granted, because when we had that massive spike, I think one of the mistakes that I made was I invested too much back in too quickly because I thought the journey was starting. So there's no way this rocket ship ends. And in reality, business operates like this, right? It's never a straight linear path up. So I would say when you get to the top and on your way to the top, prepare for that dip so that you can then ride that next wave up.
Boom. That's great advice. So following up to that question, like going back to that day or whenever in your career, your pivotal moment, what is one thing that you would have done differently?
I think exactly that. I think when it comes to, I'm a very aggressive person. Naturally, that's what has allowed me to get opportunities, grow really fast. I think that once you have succeeded and you've done the thing, I think you have to kind of flip the mindset and say, okay, how do I sustain this? So it goes from massive growth and a mindset of massive growth to sustaining and kind of laying a foundation. And so once again, going back to the charts of business, how it's up and down, when I hit that peak or I'm on my way to that peak, because you never know when you're actually at the peak. When you're on your way to that peak, I want to put some sort of foundation there that never allows me to go below this again, right? So that way, when that inevitable dip happens, I've built a foundation. I'll stop at that dip. And now, even though I'm a little lower than where I was, I get to start from a higher foundation. So I would train my mind to think in terms of that. Yes, great, be aggressive, massive growth, get there, and then lay a little foundation as you go along so that you can always start from a higher place.
Yeah. And just that 2 minute where you were answering that question, you mentioned mindset multiple times. What role does mindset play in the entrepreneur's success?
It's everything. It's everything, and it's everything in everything. Whether it's sports, business, no matter what it is, you could have everything else. You could have the full skill set, and you see this. I love comparing sports to business because people can grasp it a lot easier. But you see this all the time in sports, right? The most talented athletic guy out there has everything going for him physically, but mentally can't get it together and never makes it big, right? That had nothing to do with his physical tools, or it had everything to do with what was going on in his head. So same thing with you from a business perspective and us from a business perspective. If you could get the right mindset about things, and I guess to further elaborate on that, because mindset can sound super general, I believe that your philosophies run your life for better or worse. So the very first thing that you need to do is upgrade your philosophies. There are things that you were taught from very, very young, right? Like I actually just did a talk on this and I had people finish my sentence. I said, money is the root of all
evil,
right?
Yeah,
root of all evil, right? More money, more
problems.
Okay. If this is deep in your heart, what you believe about money, are you going to be capable of making money?
Exactly.
If you believe money is the root of all evil and more money, are you going to allow yourself? There's something in you on a deep, deep level fighting your success. You need to upgrade those philosophies, right? So when I say mindset, I'm not just talking, I'm happy to wake up this morning. That's all. That's great, right? But I'm talking the deep-rooted philosophies that you've been operating by that you need to go back and check and get rid of, because they're things that are stopping you from being successful on a deep spiritual level, because it's what you've been taught and what you've accepted as fact.
Yeah, that is so true. And for anybody that is watching that, we did maybe an hour and a half episode with Dr. Javier Carlin that talks a lot about those like blockers that, people have that is really impeding them to like really get the growth that they can achieve.
Absolutely.
So for you specifically, do you have any exercise or anything that you do on a daily basis to ensure that you have the right mindset or you have the right philosophy or you are ready to tackle whatever the day brings for you?
Yeah. So I have an exercise called a deep look in the mirror. So it's a bigger philosophy. I don't know how far you want me to get into it, but I believe success starts at rock bottom. And for most people, but I believe that you can either actually hit rock bottom or you can do what I call manufacturing rock bottom. So this is what I teach people. You don't have to go to rock bottom to be successful. But if you don't want to end up at rock bottom, you have to manufacture it. And what happens at rock bottom for people, the only reason it takes that to be successful is because it's not until they hit rock bottom that they truly start looking at themselves in the mirror, not for what they want to see, but for what's really there. So in order for you to manufacture rock bottom and not have to actually go there, because those are the only two options, you need to start looking in the mirror now, not for what you want to be seen as, but for what's really there. Address all the issues, write it down on paper. This is me. This is the good. This is the bad. This is the ugly. Accept the ugly and do something about it. And if you're able to do that exercise and truly not lie to yourself, that's the foundation of success. Stop lying to yourself. Take the bad, change the bad. Now you can be successful. So that's the exercise that I would have people do is like, look, manufacture rock bottom, look in the mirror. And if you need help, ask somebody close to you, right? I'm sure they'll tell you all of it. And I'll tell them, like, you're not going to offend me. Tell me what my flaws are. I want to get better. And then don't fight them. Accept it. Work on it. Change. That's how you grow.
Yeah. One of my favorite things that a couple of friends like from the Collective Genius always share is like to go from 0 to 1. A lot of people focus on going 0 to 100 and trying to accomplish everything, but to go to 0 to 1. So for somebody that just hit rock bottom right now, what is the 0 to 1 for them? What is the thing that they can do to help them, stack those blocks to get to be successful when they hit the rock bottom?
The only thing you can do at that point is work on yourself. Stop focusing on growing the business. Stop focusing on how much money is coming. You're not making any money, right? You're at rock bottom. You got nothing. And I've been there, right? I just talked about $3 in the bank. The immediate move for me wasn't like, how do I become rich? The immediate move was look inside of myself. And for me, that meant I mean, it's something different for everybody, but for me, it meant waking up early. It meant spending time with God super early. It meant diving into the word and really strengthening myself spiritually. It meant working out. For me, there's a body-mind link because I'm an athlete, right? When I'm working out and when I'm moving my body, I feel a lot better. Confidence is a huge thing. And when I have my spiritual foundation in place and I have my physical foundation in place, I feel the most confident version of myself. And then past there, now I can go out and take massive action, but I can take it with a clear mind. I can take it with confidence, even with $3 in my bank account. I'm not confident because of my bank account or not confident because of my bank account. I'm confident because of who I am, right? My identity. So you need to figure out what is that identity for you. It can't be rooted in your bank account. I'm going to show up the same here on the show, whether I have $1 billion or $3, right? Because I know who I am. So you need to figure out who you are. You need to develop those habits that you show up every day and do things that you can control, like getting in the word for me, like working out for me, whatever grounds you. Do those things, figure that out first, and then go out and make a lot of money. It'll be a lot easier.
Absolutely. I love that. That was so good. What is the biggest lesson / book or resources that has helped you be successful?
Yep. I think this is kind of going to be kind of taboo. I've been seeing a lot of gurus put their top books and things that influence them. And a lot of them put a lot of the same ones, but a lot of them rank Think and Grow Rich really low on their list for some reason. And for me, it was the total opposite. Like Think and Grow Rich is one of the very first books my mentor asked me to read and told me to read. And I studied that book like it was my second Bible. Like I had it playing on audio, on repeat as I was sleeping at night. Like I wanted it in my subconscious. I wanted to understand that book on a very deep level. So I love the book Think and Grow Rich if you take it seriously. If you just like scan through it, it's not going to do much for you. But if you take it seriously, it really talks about rewiring the way you think and really having a spirit of success. I keep talking about spirit and I keep talking about mindset because I truly believe they are the foundation of everything. And so I believe you become the person first before it manifests in your bank account, right? And I think everybody focuses so much on the bank account, which is the end result, and they don't work on the person needed to make the bank account what they wanted, right?
Yep.
So those type of books are all about the person, right? Becoming the person capable of making the million, 10 million, $1 billion. That's where you have to start. So I love Think and Grow Rich. And then on a practical level, I think a common one is everybody knows Robert Kiyosaki. But I like his second book, actually. It's called Cash Flow Quadrants. So it talks about how all of us make money in different ways, some as an employee, some as self-employed, some big business owner, some investor, and how the jump to each category is not an intellectual gap, it's an emotional gap. And I love that because I believe that's true as well.
Boom. That was awesome. That was so good. What is the biggest piece of advice that you've received from somebody else?
Boring but rich. From a business standpoint, my mentor, that was his saying, boring but rich. He says the problem most people make in business is they chase the flashy things or the cool things, and they think those big swings are the ones that get them to success. But in reality, getting rich is a very, very boring process. It's just about showing up and doing those things every day. So the formula for me, if I'm entering an industry and I'm brand new, I want to find somebody that's already successful. I want to see exactly what they're doing to a T. Whatever they're doing, I want to do, and I want to do a lot of, right? Sounds super boring, right? But if I show up, if I find someone already successful, get their formula, I do the actions they're doing, success leaves clues, right? If I do what they do, I should get what they get. Inputs create outputs. That's a boring formula. Nobody wants to do that. Everybody wants to come up with the next thing and be innovative and creative and do it differently. But no, do what works. That's how you get to success.
Absolutely. What do you hope your legacy be? When all of it's said and done, what do you hope your legacy to be?
I want my legacy to be that I help to restore families. And I believe that we do that through this material. I believe that by giving people their home back and giving people homes where they once couldn't afford homes, I believe that that will help to restore families. And I want my legacy to be that I help to restore families.
Boom. That's awesome, man. For anybody watching this that wants to get connected with you and your team, how can they do that? I know you already mentioned that. We're gonna be bringing that again. For anybody that wants to get connected with you, how can they connect with you?
Yep. We already mentioned the Instagram, so I'm the most active on there. That's why I mention it. It's just the Athletic CEO is my Instagram tag. And I think past there, our website is lockinblock.com. It's lock-in-block with a K.com is where you find us online. And then, of course, through this great guy right here, I mean, the DSF Talkshow. If you want to get in touch with us, he has all our information. So reach out to them and he'll connect us.
That's so fire. Man, that was a fire show. That was filled with so much value, and definitely, if you this point and you've learned some other stuff, please leave a comment and also reach out to this guy. Go follow him and follow his journey. And also, like, obviously, they are doing a raise right now, which I don't know how long until everything is closed.
Well, we're halfway there in about 2 weeks. So
Okay.
I give it another 2 weeks, and I think that we'll be where we want to be.
Perfect. That's awesome. One thing I typically ask for people on the show too, you don't have to have anything, but like, if anybody wants to get connected with you, do you have like a free gift or anything like that, like where you can share with them, or even like, I don't know, something related to, Lock and Block that you can share with them?
Yeah, we can do something like that. We're very new, as we shared. We literally signed like 2 weeks ago. But one thing I can throw out there from the beginning is we can give them a free ticket. So we're going to have a special weekend. We call them block parties. And block parties are going to be super cool. We're going to do challenges with people like stacking and building with the blocks. We'll do certifications for people who want to learn how to build with the blocks. And then we'll also be talking about the opportunity, like how you can become a distributor. So I can go ahead and throw out a free ticket for those of the people that are watching that want a free ticket to that. I don't know what you want them to put in the chat.
You can put it in the chat, or maybe just even share your email so that way they can reach out to you directly as well.
Yeah. We'll share. I'm sure you have
it in the show notes.
You can put it on there. Yeah.
Yep.
And just email us. Let us know you're interested, and we'll get you a free ticket to that weekend.
Yeah. Awesome. And if you're a supplier too, you want to learn about the process, to definitely reach out.
Yep.
Such a pleasure having you on the show, John. It was awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. That was a fire show. Thank you for being on the show, John, and thank you to Greg for the connection. And shout out to everybody here in the show watching right now live. So yeah, there you have it, guys. Like, definitely reach out to him if you need anything, or if you want to participate in being an investor as well for the Lock and Block. Let's go, baby. It's so fire. That's so fire. Let's go. Let's go.